that soundbite?
I mean, as far as I know, if you want to give the ball to a running back, you can call a play where you turn and give the ball to the running back.
You would think.
So that's allowed. Like, you don't have to throw it to him. You can actually turn, you can call that play. And then if you're the head coach of the team, you control every aspect of who gets what. And at any point, you can trump the offensive coordinator and say, okay, we're going to give him the ball. So after they're up 21 points, they gave Saquon the ball 4 more times. He got 10 total. And I know he talked about Tank, so I'm thinking, well, Tank must have got the ball a bunch of times. He got the ball 1 time. So, and Tank's gotten the ball this season 18 times. Right. Now, he's averaging over 9 yards a carry, so maybe Tank should get the ball more. But you have absolute control over who gets the ball. So to say that we would love to do it, it just didn't come. It just wasn't possible. Like, I don't understand that presentation.
Yeah, look, I think the comment, I think the comment is disingenuous, but I do think it's the right thing to say. I think they need to and will get Tank Bigsby more involved. And so you want to say, look, we're trying to get it to Saquon as much as possible. And I'm not saying next year Saquon won't be very good. But this year he struggled. Tank, you're right, 9 yards a carry. I know it's only 18 carries. So who knows, obviously that's a small sample size. But he does have a burst this year that Saquon hasn't seemed to have. So I would give, without marginalizing Saquon, I would find a way to get Bigsby more involved because they need some explosion.
This maybe is like a third-rail Eagles topic. But is it on the board that one of the things they're battling is right now, because, again, I think it is purely because of how much they used him last year. We can't talk about football and be like, man, every carry's a car crash, and then be like, yeah, that guy had 450 car crashes last year and he's not the same guy. Is it on the board that they are trying to weigh, man, our best option for running the ball right now isn't Saquon. But if all of a sudden we are giving 15 carries to someone who's not Saquon, a locker room that's already been a bit of a tinderbox, it's a whole different problem. If Saquon's the change of pace back. So, like, if he has to be the featured back and he's giving you, I know, Coach, that he only had 4 carries once they're up 21, but that also means he only had 6 en route to the 21-point lead. Like, throwing the ball was working, running with Saquon has not been working. Like, that's a weird thing that they have to balance because he's such a great player coming off such a great year. If he's just not that, this is a bad example, but it almost feels like the end of Klay Thompson in Golden State. Like, man, like, does he? He's Klay, but he's not our best option. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of Saquon. His history, he's had great year, down year, great year, down year.
Yes.
So go ahead and give Tank Bigsby the ball, and in line with everything else that comes out of Philadelphia, you do whatever you have to do to win the game. So I don't think Saquon's going to be the type of guy to go to The Athletic and do a 16-page article or get on Twitch or whatever and say, I'm not getting the ball enough. He'll probably say, okay, this is what we had to do to win the game. And when you've got a guy who's averaging 9 yards a carry, you give him the ball until he brings his average down. Yeah. And just see what it is. And if you've got to split the carries, you split the carries. But to sit there with 11 carries and not know what you have and then say, hey, we'd love to do it differently, but we can't. No, you fed the beast that complained, and this is where it brought you.
All right, let's dive into this. The central issue here wasn't simply about force-feeding the ball to a star player like A.J. Brown. That wasn't the core of the problem. However, the concept of integrating Tank Bigsby more significantly into this offensive scheme is a compelling one. This is a point that numerous viewers have been raising in the comments section. First off, let's dispel any notion that increasing Tank's involvement would somehow destabilize the locker room, turning it into a volatile environment. That line of thinking is completely unfounded. To be clear, the team's chemistry has not been characterized by that kind of tension, despite any narratives you might want to believe. That simply hasn't been the reality within the squad. Personally, I am fully on board with the idea of getting Tank Bigsby more touches. When you examine his usage, the sample size is astonishingly limited. Looking at the game logs, against the Cowboys, 1 carry for 8 yards. That's a positive gain. Against the Lions, 4 carries for 34 yards, averaging 8.5 yards per attempt. Okay, that's promising. Then, versus the Packers, 3 attempts for 7 yards, a 2.3-yard average. All right. And then the Giants game, which is the obvious standout, 9 attempts for 104 yards. In that contest, the floodgates truly opened. Saquon Barkley was also ripping off significant gains against the Giants' defense. So we're not dealing with a massive or consistent body of work here. If we scrutinize the 2 games where he received a somewhat larger share of carries, the picture is mixed. In one, he had 3 carries for 7 yards, a 2.3-yard average, a game where Will Shipley actually performed more efficiently with 4 carries for 17 yards, a 4.3-yard average. Then you have Jalen Hurts, who had 5 carries for 27 yards. But as the quarterback, his production is a separate category. Saquon, in that same game, had 22 carries for 60 yards, a 2.7-yard average. Then, in the matchup against the Giants, the script flipped entirely. Saquon exploded for 14 carries, 150 yards, including a 65-yard burst, averaging a monstrous 10.7 yards per carry with a touchdown. Tank was also brilliant. 9 carries, 104 yards, and 11.6-yard average. But again, this was a game where the entire ground attack feasted, which makes it a unique scenario. It's a different context altogether. I am completely supportive of giving Tank an opportunity and seeing what he can do with a more substantial role, building momentum from his production. I would be thrilled to see the offense leverage his skills. For a perfect blueprint, one need look no further than the Detroit Lions. Examine David Montgomery's usage patterns. His carry counts last season, when their offense was truly explosive, fluctuated 17, 11, 23, 12, 12, 9, 9, 17, 12, 15, 8, 21, 14, 5. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is obviously a phenomenal talent. And even this current season, Montgomery's workload has continued. 11, 11, 12, 9, 18, 4, 13, 11, 15, 6, 5 carries. It is clearly a feasible strategy. Gibbs is still receiving a hefty share, 9, 12, 22, 15, 12, 17, 17, 9, 15, 12, 15 carries. He is still very much involved. This is the Ben Johnson offensive system. His carry distribution last season was 20, 24, 11, 13, 16, 14, 12, 15, 11, 11, 19, 11, 21. He still amassed 250 carries for over 2,400 yards. Montgomery, in that same 2024 season, had 185 carries for 775 yards. So, it is absolutely achievable. The framework is undeniably there. Even back in 2023, when this Lions offense first caught the league by surprise with its potency, Montgomery was heavily featured with 219 carries for over 1,000 yards, with game logs like 21, 16, 32, 19 carries. Gibbs was emerging, 7, 7, then 17, 8, 11, 26, 14, 8, 11, 11, 8, 11, and so on. He finished with 182 carries for 945 yards, a 5.2-yard average, and 10 touchdowns. Gibbs was a star from the very beginning. The point is, it can be done. The model for success is readily available. I would love to see the Eagles adopt a similar approach. If it's a strategy sound enough for Ben Johnson and that high-octane Lions offense, it's worth serious consideration. Think about how often the Eagles and Lions were compared to one another. Great offensive lines, powerful ground games, elite receivers. There are plenty of offensive pieces to share. Now, Jalen Hurts has always been a different type of quarterback. Some argued Jared Goff was a more pure passer, which has merit, but Hurts adds a dynamic mobility that creates huge problems for defenses. Now you can observe what Ben Johnson is designing for Caleb Williams. It's a copycat league. You can borrow these concepts. You can acknowledge that this is a pretty solid idea and decide to explore implementing it. It's not an overwhelmingly complex task. It's actually quite straightforward. You simply have to be willing to do something a little different. You need to inject a bit of spark, a touch of innovation, a sprinkle of creative imagination. Taking a chance like this isn't going to cause harm. This Eagles team has expressed a desire to run the ball more effectively. It seems that in the modern NFL, regardless of how talented your quarterback is, there is an immense value in being able to hand the ball off 25 to 30 times a game, consistently gain yards, and surpass the 100-yard rushing mark. It doesn't matter if your quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, or Joe Burrow. You want to possess that ability. You want to have a 1st and 10, hand the ball off, and boom, it's 2nd and 5. You want the option on 1st down to take a shot downfield. If it falls incomplete, it's 2nd and 10. You hand the ball off, pick up solid yardage, and suddenly it's a manageable 3rd and 2. You can confidently hand it off again to move the chains. 3rd and 2, hand off, and you break one for 8 yards. Those sequences are monumental. They are incredibly beneficial to an offense. What truly hampers an offense is when you hand the ball off and you're immediately in a difficult down and distance. Oh, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, handoff, minimal gain, and now it's 3rd and 8. That's when it starts to genuinely hurt you. Or 3rd and 2, you hand it off and get stuffed, leading to a 4th and 1. That's a disaster. I believe part of the frustration people have with this Eagles offense is that it doesn't feel like there's any effective troubleshooting happening. It comes across as very repetitive. I would appreciate just a sense that they are experimenting, trying to find new solutions. It's an intriguing thought. Let's hypothesize that Saquon has been part of the issue, though I don't genuinely believe that's the case. I think the offensive line bears the primary responsibility. But for argument's sake, let's say Tank Bigsby is just a bit more resilient to the line's struggles right now. Let's propose that Saquon isn't the fundamental problem, but that he might lack a certain level of durability at the moment due to the immense workload he shouldered last season. Perhaps a younger, fresher player like Tank could absorb more of that physical burden, demonstrating more resilience, thereby keeping Saquon more energized for critical moments later in games. If there's any truth to that dynamic, it would be a very intelligent discovery for the Eagles to make. Just imagine what that could unlock. Envision if they could actually establish a consistently effective rushing attack. If this run game could find its footing and trend positively, a strong case can be made that this team might only have one loss right now, that blowout against the New York Giants. You could even speculate that game might have unfolded differently, though they were soundly beaten, so that's a separate discussion. But you could convincingly argue they would have beaten the Broncos, maintaining possession, draining the clock, giving the opponent less time. Against the Cowboys, they could have relied on the run game in the second half, protected the ball, dominated time of possession, and secured the victory. Perhaps this is the key that reopens the door to the Super Bowl. Or perhaps it's merely an act of desperation, a hope to stumble upon an answer from an unexpected source. I'm not certain, but I am fascinated, particularly because there doesn't seem to be a deafening external demand for this change. The loudest pressures have been, get the ball to AJ, and run with Saquon. I haven't detected a significant groundswell of energy or widespread cries to get Tank more involved. I'd be curious for Philadelphia fans to inform me what the local media is discussing. If they are championing that cause, then I would find that very telling. And it would make me more optimistic. Or perhaps intrigued is a better word, as I don't have a fixed view. But I would have a stronger belief that the Eagles coaching staff might actually consider implementing it. Let's be clear. Saquon Barkley is the established star. He is not the type of player who will complain or sulk. Remember, he was a direct reason they won the Super Bowl last year. Football is the ultimate team sport. Saquon was perfectly content during a game where he rushed for 99 yards and another player scored the crucial touchdown. He did not care in the slightest. After they won the championship, Jalen Hurts went straight to him and said, "You were the difference maker." Saquon broke records, accumulated massive yardage, scored touchdowns, received accolades, earned a Super Bowl ring. It was a mutually beneficial partnership. The Eagles offered him a major contract and the opportunity for team success, and he delivered. Now, if this season the team requires a slightly different allocation of touches, that's a reasonable adjustment. That's how a healthy, functional partnership operates. It doesn't mean the dynamic is permanent. I have always been an advocate for utilizing a 2 or even 3 running back system, a true multi-headed monster in the backfield. Andy Reid didn't necessarily invent it, but he has certainly masterfully employed that strategy at various points in his illustrious career. It's also worth noting that Saquon is still a major factor in the passing game. No one is suggesting completely neutralizing Saquon Barkley, reducing him to 5 touches a game. That's not the proposal. The idea is that if you can get Tank Bigsby going, it could potentially create more opportunities for everyone. For the offensive scheme, for Saquon himself, and for the aerial attack. In football, everything has a synergistic effect. You run the ball to set up the pass, you pass the ball to set up the run. Your defense's performance dictates your offensive options. Your offense's production dictates your defensive strategy. If you score points in bunches, your defense can play more aggressively. If your defense is stifling the opponent, your offense can afford to be patient and control the clock with the run. A potent rushing attack opens up the play-action passing game. A threatening deep passing game forces defenses to back off, creating wider running lanes. It is the ultimate sport of synergy. So, if you can unlock this particular aspect of your offense, a more dynamic and shared rushing attack, it creates a sense of possibility. Can they rediscover their dominant form? Can they become a more physically imposing and formidable unit? We will have to wait and see. Those are my perspectives. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Philadelphia Eagles? What are your thoughts on the potential to slightly scale back Saquon's workload and get Tank Bigsby more involved? Would it make a tangible difference? Could it add a new missing dimension to this offense? Could it be the catalyst they need? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let's get some discussions going. Let's get into some friendly debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun with it. Please consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you become a part of it. I want to create something we all feel genuinely connected to, something we're truly excited to be involved with. I believe we are well on our way to achieving that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely helps with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.